Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the UWI St. Augustine's Ask UWI. So, again, good afternoon to our viewers and our listeners who are slowly joining our program this afternoon, our hour long recruitment session this afternoon, and welcome to our Ask UWI program on industrial engineering. So, today we have a very special theme for you all. We're going to be answering all your questions on industrial engineering. We have a very esteemed panel with us also. We have our Dean of Engineering, Professor Bisham Ramlal, who is here just to provide some oversight and help us answer questions. We have Dr. Ruel Ellis, who is a lecturer at our Faculty of Engineering. He is also chairman of several advisory councils, and it's a pleasure for him to speak more about industrial engineering and give us an overview. And we also have an Ask UWI session for you this afternoon with a bit of a difference. We have several past students of the program who are managers and various stakeholders in their fields, and they are going to share their authentic student experiences with you. So they're going to tell you about their journeys and how their journeys could become your journeys very soon as you get ready to join us at our St. Augustine campus from September 2025. My name is Nataki Kurd, Manager of Brand and Student Recruitment Marketing here at the university, and it's my pleasure to welcome you this afternoon. So again, I'm seeing everyone joining us. I'm seeing lots of persons in our chat. I'm seeing Ambika and Alex, Darren, and a whole host of persons who are joining us. So welcome to our Ask UWI session, and it's all about industrial engineering today. Feel free to use our chat platform and ask us any question you want on industrial engineering. As I mentioned, we can see it from so many perspectives, and we have so many experts with us today, so you can ask us questions. We'll be quick to answer them in our chat. Let us know what questions you have, because we really don't want you to miss the deadline date for applications, which is July 30th. Let me just repeat that. You still have some weeks to go, some days to go with regards to the deadline date for applications for our industrial education program, I should say, and the deadline date is July 30th. So we want to make sure that you don't miss that bus on July 30th. So ask all your questions now, and then you can click and apply to the UWI St. Augustine. So let's just start off this hour because we have a tight program for you, and I would like to ask Dr. Ruel Ellis, who is really happy to be able to share a bit of an overview about the industrial engineering program. So Dr. Ellis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nataki. Good afternoon, all. And Nataki, I must tell you, beyond everything that I've done, I am also a graduate of the BSc Industrial Engineering program here at the UWI. Now, we start by looking at industrial engineering. And for those who have not studied industrial engineering or who are considering it, we are looking at it in terms of how it shapes the Caribbean industries. And from some definition, industrial engineering integrates knowledge and skills from several fields of science: the technical sciences, economic sciences, human sciences, and an ever-increasing skills in information sciences. An industrial engineer is responsible for comprehending knowledge in those sciences in order to increase the productivity of processes, achieve quality products and services while assuring labor safety. And based on that is what we're looking at today. So industrial engineering incorporates diverse schools of thinking and diverse thoughts, from process optimization, automation, human factors, data sciences, sustainability, cost reduction. And each of the panelists who we would be introduced to in a while, they work in different fields, but apply most or all of these skills and more. Oops. So within the Caribbean context, we have tourism operators, energy systems, supply chains, port managers, manufacturing systems, marine resources, agribusiness, healthcare, and water delivery systems. And industrial engineers find themselves working in all of these. Actually, I had a guy who graduated with me, Stout. Stout actually works in New York as an editor of a magazine. And you ask why, as an industrial engineer, editing a magazine? And he edits it for the layout of the stories in the magazine in order to optimize the number of advertisements which can fit on a page. So that's how we apply plant layout to his field in magazines. So within the Caribbean, there's an annual growth for industrial engineers at 15%. It is so crazy that companies are importing industrial engineers from Latin America and from Europe to fill vacant positions. Even Canada, I think the Jamaicans have started Canada. And based on that, because of that demand, I think UTech has also started a program. But why the high demand? Our economies are modernizing rapidly, and companies need IE professionals to optimize different operations, especially things like port. Given that most of us in the Caribbean, we do a lot of logistics in terms of importing stuff from around the world and moving stuff throughout the region. So industrial engineers can find themselves as tourism operations managers, as manufacturing engineers, as you would hear from some of our guests, sustainability consultants, in that industrial engineers look at how do we look at your environment, look at how people use it, look at the economics of it, and try to get everything together so the society benefits on a whole from it. Then there are those who go into data analytics, and we have one of those here with us today, and supply chain coordinators or even management consultancy. I mean, I wish we could have gotten more people to talk to you, but this is where we are at present. So some of the technical skills of industrial engineers include statistical analysis, programming, database management, automation, simulation, and project management. While on to balance it, you have the soft skills such as critical thinking, communication, organization design, team leadership, problem solving, and innovation. These are all skills that the program here at UWI encapsulates. And two quick case studies. These are actually done by industrial engineers over time. It's reducing the cargo processing time by 40%. And this is at Point Lisas Industrial Estate. Actually, the past president there is a graduate of the industrial engineering program also. And in Barbados, we had some of our graduates who had worked and implementing scheduling systems that improve guest satisfaction scores by 35% and reducing operating costs by 20% in the hotel industry there. So industrial engineering skills can contribute to the Caribbean economic growth and its sustainability. And in terms of the program itself, it's IMECI accredited. We have modern laboratories. We have some internship programs at some companies seeking to expand on those. We utilize some of the latest technology, especially in the computing side of it. We have industry experienced staff, people who have worked in industry, worked as an industrial engineer, and contribute to the program. We have some industry partnerships, and I believe the university itself has exchange programs with other universities throughout the world. If you are brave enough, you can apply for and spend some time outside of Trinidad in other industrial engineering programs before returning. And we do provide some career support in that within the faculty, if someone, an employer, is seeking information or needs an industrial engineer, they would contact us as staff and we would recruit the best industrial engineer for the position that the person is recruiting. So the program itself is designed specifically for Caribbean students by Caribbean professionals. And our graduates themselves, job placement, more than 95%. I mean, industrial engineers sometimes are employed even before results come out, right? And the 85% of them stay in the Caribbean, and those who do not, they end up in some interesting places. And their salary increases by more than 40% within the first 2 years of employment. So at this point in time, I would like to introduce you to some of our graduates. Or are you going to do it, Nataki?
Thanks, Dr. Ellis. Thanks for allowing me to introduce our esteemed panel, because just now you mentioned, the fact that we have so many graduates in so many various areas. So I was quite excited to be able to do that. And I did tell our audience that we had an Ask UE session for you this afternoon with just a bit of a difference. And the difference is the fact that we have four past students of Dr. Ellis's and the Faculty of Engineering's program, and they are all working in various fields. So even if you all are thinking about career pathways and different types of industries you could belong to, the fact is we have the experts right here. So you can literally see yourself in these shoes in the next few years. But Dr. Ellis, before I introduce our group of past students, I'm seeing some questions coming in the chat and we're getting some lovely answers. And I just want to mention this one question. Sheen is asking if this course is a diploma certificate, a diploma or certificate, and what's the duration of the course. So can you quickly answer, Shane, before we get into the meat of the program?
Shane, this is a full BSc in industrial engineering. Diplomas and certificates lower down the food chain, and the duration is 3 years.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Ellis. So as I mentioned before, we have 4 past students with us, and the first up is Ms. Kalyani Mathura, who graduated in 2021 and now works at UWI. And right after Kalyani speaks, we have Dr. Darren Maynard, who now lives in Australia, and he calls himself a training and operations manager and a whole set of other things, but we'll just stick with training and operations manager for now. We also have with us this evening Miss Danielle Nelson, who works at Unipet. She's another one who is a very long name manager. She is the maintenance, data science, and stakeholder relations manager at Unipet, and she did industrial engineering. She started off with that. And finally, we have with us Dr. Kevin Hassan Ali. He graduated in 2007, and he's the general manager of Rentokil in Guyana. So when I told you we have a wide and varied panel with us this afternoon, we do. So I'll just like to ask Kalyani to start us off. And as I mentioned before, she now works at Huawei. So Kalyani, just tell our prospects here a little bit about your journey through industrial engineering and how it helped you to get where you are today.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for the introduction. My other panelists have a very long slew of their title. So just to very quickly let you know, currently I work as the account manager for the Eastern Caribbean region at Huawei Technologies here in Trinidad and Tobago. And my journey as an industrial engineer through the University of the West Indies actually started off as a mechanical engineer program. So I originally applied and got in to do the mechanical engineering with minor in biosystems. But then from, I think the first day, I actually met Professor Ellis, and through discussions with him and some of the other faculty members, some of the other professors, I realized after my first year that what I really wanted to do was industrial engineering, because it was more than just the kind of nitty-gritty, harder side of things, if that makes sense. You weren't so much into the materials of things or the thermodynamics of things. It was more human. It was more process oriented. It was more project oriented. And those were things that I was very passionate about. I was very passionate about efficiency and learning about it and doing better at that. I was also very interested in finance and the application of financial engineering, which is something that now I can look at a bit more in my current job. And so after my first year of mechanical engineering, I applied to switch to industrial engineering, and then I completed the further 2 years within that degree. So to answer Shane or somebody else had asked about if your first year is with mechanical and then how that progresses. The first year you do kind of the same courses as the mechanical students. The second year, some of your courses are the same as the mechanical students, but then by your third year, you're fully in industrial engineering. And I have to say, my last year was my favorite year because we really got into the best parts, right? We did plant layout. I got to do project management and database management and development. the financial aspect of it. So you got to learn at a very high level about financial management within a company. And then you could further that with your own introspection and to look at HR management and things like that. And so I ended my industrial engineering with my final year project, which I was able to do on essentially creating the uh, like a map of how we can develop ecotourism within our local cocoa industry, which is something that was also very near and dear to my heart. Um, and so that was my journey in essence. But I think a big highlight for me was actually the end, where I got to take everything that I learned about um, industrial engineering and apply it to something real, something tangible, something that we could use to better the country in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you so much,
Nataki,
Kalian.
if you
Yes,
don't
Dr.
mind,
Ellis, you'd like to jump in?
I'm going to ask Kalyani one question. Kalyani, how did you end
Yes,
up in Huawei?
that is a great question. And I would love to give everybody that story. So I get a call or a message or an email, I'm not sure which one it was, from Dr. Ellis right here. And he said, there's this program that Huawei has. Or was it in class? Or I don't remember. But he said there's this program that Huawei is doing called Seeds for the Future.
Mhm.
And whenever next comes around, obviously I will share it with the industrial engineering professors so that everybody in who joins the program has a chance. And we were in our final year, and he said, it's your final year. You're all really stressed with your final year projects and trying to finish your courses and whatnot. But here's like a 2-week program that's going to be really technology intensive. You will have no clue what you're doing, but do it. It's a very good opportunity. We need industrial engineers in
Yeah,
this aspect of technology. And so we all applied and we all got into the program. And essentially, it was a very technology intensive program for 2 weeks where we were trained on telecommunications and advanced technology that was being used globally. Um, and it was things like 5G and machine learning, data science based analytics, artificial intelligence, which is now a very big topic. And coming out of that Seeds for the Future program, Huawei also had an internship program. And because I was a past Seeds for the Future attendee and I participated and I did quite well in it, I was offered a position as an intern at Huawei.
yeah.
And
And
this
the rest
also
is
came
history.
about, sorry?
I said the rest is history.
Yes, the rest is history essentially, but also to my notice about the internship also came from somebody within the department. Like the link was shared to us and said, hey, you should apply for it. So to students joining us or potential students joining us, I can honestly say that my job, that the one that I have right now currently that I love, is very much because of my professors who helped me, guide me, and sort of showed me the path to where I am right now.
I
So
couldn't
you're in
have
good
said that
hands.
better myself, actually.
Yeah.
And that's something, Kalyani, I'm glad you touched on that because that's something that our prospects are always interested in terms of career paths and internships. And literally, you just went right through from something that our faculty had, put you on to, and thereafter an internship happened, and there is where you are now. So that's something I think that all who are listening and viewing this afternoon will be quite appreciative of. Thanks so much for sharing your story with us. I'll also like to invite next Dr. Darren Maynard, who I mentioned in a simplified way. He's a training and operations manager right now in Australia. He's gone far and wide, but he really does a lot more than that. And I'm going to ask Dr. Maynard to just let us know a bit about his journey and how the program helped give him that foundation to move forward. Dr. Maynard?
Hello, everyone. I will say good afternoon, but it's also morning here in Australia. I'm a training and operations manager for Solid Support, who is a construction consultancy firm. I will say my journey with industrial engineering, I have done a wider range of industries. So I could probably start back. I think I remember meeting Dr. Ellis. He reminded me how I got into industrial engineering because I remember going to visit in my sixth form year at UWI, and he was teaching his database design class. And I asked him, what is that? And, I worked out, oh, he said, this is industrial engineering. And I was like, okay, great. I was going to apply to that program. I got into the program, and my journey with industrial engineering was I was already applying industrial engineering without even knowing it. But then it helped me out because I was working at the international school during my school vacations, uni vacation, I was running the summer camp that I worked there before joining UWI. And I was applying my industrial engineering already during that vacation program. I was actually creating databases. I was doing all of the staffing, writing manuals. So I actually wrote a paper by the time I graduated from UWI. My final year project was industrial engineering in the education sector. I wrote a paper before I was going away to do my master's. I wrote a paper based on what I learned as industrial engineer, applying it over a 5-year period in a school program, how do you run school and be efficient around it. And then I went away, come back. And again, before I went away, the university put my name up to, which was then PCS Nitrogen, who's now Atrium, for an internship program. And I ended up becoming a supply chain intern into a supply chain specialist in ammonia. So again, here I moved from education to the energy sector. And I was being a supply chain specialist, looking at logistics, looking at risk. And I remember one of my last days on work signing off a very big contract for a turnaround project where you're bringing in, let me tell you, it's a lot of money we spend when we do a turnaround contract. And here I am at 23 years old, signing a contract for more money than I've ever seen in my life. I was like, okay, this is swell. And when I went away and did my master's in project management, because I was a big fan of project management, which I learned in industrial engineering. And I came back and I started working for sustainability engineering now. So I moved education, supply chain in ammonia, then now to sustainability engineering, where I started working across the Caribbean, where I'm like flying to Barbados, to Jamaica, to Guyana as well. And I'm working for this company as a portfolio management lead. And I'm applying my knowledge because now I'm doing behavioral science, which we learn in industrial engineering, because as a Trinidadian now, I'm Caribbean, but I have to now understand how to work with different contractors and people, elements around the Caribbean as well. So much it really was useful that I ended up starting teaching international project management at UWI at our master's program. But again, my grounding from that was because I was an industrial engineer, where I'm now in a new industry now again, but I'm applying the knowledge that I learned doing the database, doing the comments for people. And then a few years later, I found myself coming across to Australia, where I'm actually a training and operations manager for a consultancy firm. I actually fly around Australia training people how to use software, how to use construction planning software. And again, how I'm able to do that is because we did database design, I did enterprise information systems, so I'm across that technology space. But then I'm also, having done industrial management and behavioral science, I'm also learning how to get people across as human factor engineering and getting them across, upskilling them. And because of that, work asked me to start doing the operational side of things, where I look after HR. So I look after the whole hire to retire or offloading or offboarding, not offloading, offboarding process. And from that process there, I do facilities, oversee facilities, corporate governance and legal. I'm reading through all of these documentations and also coordinating work across the different state offices that we have. And so it's an interesting role that I get to do. And people, how do I do all that? It's like, well, I'm an industrial engineer. So anytime, like this week is an interesting week for me, where on Monday, I'm on project meetings because we're doing an office move right now. And then in the afternoon, I'm on leadership team dealing with the organizations. And then the next day I was doing commercial matters for us going to do an expo. And then afterwards, I'm dealing with clients. So again, my role is so varied, but I was like, how do I handle it? It's like, I'm an industrial engineer. This is what we do. And so the journey, like it's fantastic, like legit. Yeah. It's fantastic. It is really one of, I would say this, if you're not restricted to one industry, you could move around different places, and every And that's one of the things I really, really enjoyed about the program. It just made life easier for me in a way that I'm not restricted to this one industry.
Yeah, it seems quite comprehensive, and I'm glad that you touched on all those areas because, again, those are things that some of the persons here at our session this afternoon are kind of wondering. So, what exactly will I be doing with industrial engineering? But as our panelists have been sharing, it's really quite comprehensive, it's interdisciplinary, and it touches on several areas. And I did forget to mention to you all earlier that Dr. Ellis is also an expert in project management. So, of course, you're going to touch on that if you also do this program. Yeah, and that's one of his favorite areas, I must say. So thanks so much, Dr. Minard. And right after you, we have Ms. Danielle Nelson, who I had mentioned earlier is the Maintenance, Data Science, and Stakeholder Relations Manager at UNIPET. And she too wants to just give us a little about her authentic student experience as a past student of our industrial engineering program and how it helped her land where she is now. Danielle?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for that introduction. As Ms. Koo mentioned, I manage 3 units at UNIPET: maintenance, data science, and stakeholder relations, which you might be wondering, those are 3 completely different things. And I'd say the reason I was able to do that is because of my background in industrial engineering. So just a little background on how I ended up doing industrial engineering. When I graduated from high school, I was not sure what I wanted to do at all because I had such diverse interests. I did physics, chemistry, and math in Cape, but I also liked, the literature, the French, the Spanish. I did economics for CSEC. I had a that background, a diverse background, and I was looking, literally, I Googled multidisciplinary fields of study. And that was the first time I saw industrial engineering. And I read about what it was. I did my research in terms of, because it was new to me. I searched, who are industrial engineers that we might know about. And Tim Cook, who's actually the CEO of Apple right now, he's an industrial engineer. And I said, okay, well, this is looking like the move. And I really chose it. I read about it and I realized that I do want to be at the intersection of people, processes, and technology. And I felt like this was the degree to do, because it really does offer that as a balance of the technical rigor, but also the practical application to improve systems in any industry. As the previous panelists would have mentioned, you could do anything. Industrial engineering really gave me a versatile toolkit in terms of the way that the program is curated and the courses that are offered. And if you all have questions on that, of course, I know we'll be able to answer. But it gives you that versatile toolkit and it allows you to work across various domains, from maintenance to data science to stakeholder relations. As Darren would have mentioned, the behavioral science part of it, I was able, thankfully, to accelerate to leadership very quickly in my career. I graduated in 2020. Within the first 2 years of working at UNIPET, I became a team leader. And then 2 years after that, I became a manager, and it's because of the principle of people management and leadership that the industrial engineering program also offers in terms of the project management, industrial management, the engineering economics and financial accounting. Forgive me if I say the names of these courses wrong. It was 5 years ago. My bad. But it really, as I said, I just want to reiterate, it gives you that versatile toolkit that will allow you to be able to land and excel in anywhere you go, really
Yeah.
and truly. So yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing. And I really like the fact that your background is quite diverse. I mean, languages
Yeah.
and business and a whole host of other things. So I think all these things really help all our participants this afternoon see themselves exactly where you all are now. And I think that's really what is special about this session. And our
Nataki,
final, yes, Dr.
I have a question for Daniel.
You have a question for Daniel.
Yes, Daniel, what was your final year project about and how has it impacted you or your view of things in the country?
Okay, so I would say, and I can't remember now, right? But I had selected a project from the list that was given to us, right? Because that's usually what happens at the end in year 3. You get the list of projects and you could select from there. And I had
Right.
selected one, and I was about 3 months into working on it. I would have had my internship at UNIPET, And I came back out of my internship and I told Dr. Ellis, I am disenchanted with this project. I don't want to work on it anymore. I have this new idea for a project, and it was a feasibility study of solar trackers in the Caribbean, combined with the design of an alternative energy service station in in Trinidad and Tobago. And that was what really inspired that was my internship at UNIPED, where I was able to work on renewable energy projects and actually build out the renewable energy business case for UNIPED. So in terms of how it impacted me, it gave me, I was one of those students, as Dr. Atlas mentioned, before I even graduated, I had a job offer at UNIPED because of the work that I started doing, that my final year project allowed me to do, because of course I shared that project with them because it was born out of them. And my entry to UNIPED was actually as an alternative energy engineer. Yeah.
That's
And
a fantastic story. Now I see why Dr. Ellis said he had to ask you a question.
yeah,
That's a perfect example of how the world of academics can help transform and provide solutions for real world, real life, real work problems. That's a wonderful example. And thanks for sharing that.
of
Yeah.
course.
And just in case anybody is still wondering, all these wonderful examples here, all these things could be you in a couple of years. So we're going to put our link where you can click to apply. It's not too late. Remember, I did mention at the beginning that our deadline date for applications is July 30th. So you just have a few days. You might think, okay, that's 2 weeks away. No, you need to sign up now because we would love to have you. Dr. Ellis is chomping at the bit there. He can't wait to have you in his class and share his wide experience with you in September 2025 this year. So please apply and join us. And finally, I have Dr. Kevin Hassan Ali, who graduated in 2007, and he's now the general manager of Rentokil in Guyana. And Kevin wants to let us know about his experience and how it helped him literally start here and go worldwide. So Dr. Hassan Ali, over to you.
Yes. Thank you for having me. So I'd just like to start off saying that I started industrial engineering many years ago. So I'm really trying to remember back in Form 6, I know that I had a passion for engineering. But
Yeah.
at that time, I didn't know what type of engineering or what field of engineering I really wanted to pursue. So the familiar forms of engineering, chemical engineering, petroleum engineering, mechanical and the likes, civil engineering in particular as well, they all tickle my fancy. But when I looked at those programs, I really didn't find what my passion was at the time. So three criteria, and maybe prospective students could follow this criteria. It doesn't have to be exact same criteria, but identifying criteria is extremely important. So three of my passions were project management, similar to Dr. Maynard and he likes. A passion for efficiency and optimizing things, right? And a passion for moving up the corporate ladder. Not really a passion, but really a means to an end. So which engineering at that time would have provided all three as a gateway into achieving that goal of senior management, maybe within 4 to 5 years. Looking at the programs, industrial engineering actually had that mix. So aside from the hardcore engineering courses and the automation and so on, they also had courses related to finance. As the moderator mentioned, the interdisciplinarity of the courses allowed me at the time to find one in the engineering program that could be the best fit for me entering into the real world to achieve my goals within the first 1 to 4 years in industry, right? So I started the program. I immediately fell in love with the courses. I had tremendous respect for many of the lecturers, one of which is actually Dr. Ellis. So he has been around at the university teaching students, motivating students for a very long time. So I would say to prospective students as well, aside from identifying the criteria and choosing industrial engineering, rest assured you will also be in good hands from a lecturing perspective, and the support you're going to get from year 1 all the way to year 3 and your final year project. And as the first candidate mentioned, her name is Kalyani. Yes, Kalyani. Aside from the final year project, the support you get at the university also helps you to get your first job as well. It helps you to land your first job, the connections that you would have with the professors and the lecturers. It's at the top, the highest level. And 18 years later, I see now we have different systems in place. So for example, we have WhatsApp groups where past students and lecturers and so on would share opportunities before students even, before they finish the courses and graduate, they have interviews set up. I didn't have those opportunities in my time, but now we have that. So we have like an industrial engineering community now, which I'm also part of, to provide coaching and mentoring to the new prospective students throughout the journey from year 1, year 2, and year 3. Right, so that's basically how it was 18 years ago, and I think now it's much better, more structured, and it facilitates growth then for you.
Yeah.
So back to in my last couple minutes, innovation was also something that I wanted to focus on. So when I entered into industry, because of the ability to innovate, unlike other forms of engineering that focus more on reliability, what we currently have and how could we make what we currently have work better, industrial engineering carries it to the next level. What do we have, or what don't we have? What do we need then to make things better? Hence, one of the panelists mentioned Tim Cook as well. He's an innovator. Apple is an innovator. So I would say that innovation is a big part of industrial engineering. It's not really a taught course, but all the courses combined in the program enables you in an inherent way to be able to think in an innovative manner.
Yeah.
Right? So moving through time, I moved into as an engineer in my first job. Then I moved into operations management role. Then I focused a lot on project management over time. And mixing project management together with operations management, I was then able to move into senior roles, like the one that I'm in now at Rentokil.
Yeah. Thanks so much. And I think it's really important. As I mentioned before, each of our panelists have had a very unique perspective. We've spoken about mentorship and guidance opportunities. We've spoken about career pathways. We've spoken about job opportunities. We've spoken about the actual program. We've spoken about how persons start here, go regionally, end up internationally. We've spoken about so many things. And that's why I told you this Ask UWI session this evening is a unique one, because we've spanned a wide perspective of topics. So let's just get to some of the questions. I'm seeing them coming fast and furious in our chat. So I'm just going to share a couple of questions with you. And one of the questions I really want to pull out here is one that Christina asked earlier about students who don't have CSEC chemistry, but they have the other subjects. And she just wanted to know what are her choices in terms of, can she still apply? And Dr. Pemberton in the background there was quick to point out to Christina that we have had students in this position and they had to complete an equivalent chemistry course as they are coming to UWI. So you can still apply if you don't have that chemistry, because what we will do is have you do a chemistry, an equivalent chemistry course in our Faculty of Science and Technology. So please apply. Don't let these little things hold you back. And if some of you have questions, maybe questions that are pertinent to your particular circumstance, we're going to provide an email address in the chat so that you could just email us privately. Let us know what your situation is and you'll get some expert guidance on our side. We're going to send you the email address for our offices, the relevant phone numbers and extensions, because you know that the university is a really large campus, but we're going to let you know exactly what extensions you can dial to be able to get through to us. And when all that fails, just come in and visit us. We are here from Mondays to Fridays from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So just come and have a chat with all our team who are always around. Yeah, we have several other questions. Someone was asking Dr. Ellis in terms of how long is the pre-engineering program? How long is the pre-engineering program?
The pre-engineering program should be 1 year.
Okay.
Someone also asked about the entry requirements, and I have a quick slide on that if you would allow me quickly.
Sure, that will be helpful.
Yes. So the entry requirements, similar to most of the other programs in the Faculty of Engineering. So you dealt with chemistry just now, and as you said, if you do not have CSEC or O-level chemistry, you can actually come in and you can do one of the chemistry courses in the faculty or at science and technology. However, for preferences, passes in pure maths, physics, or a combination of them at CAPE, or even at pre-science is necessary. And then you could have different matriculation requirements from different institutions, such as UTT, the Barbados Community College, COSTAT, or the National NEC, Education Council Associate Degrees, right? And these are the thresholds that you need to meet to be able to get into the program. So if someone does CAPE, you have a minimal of 8 points to be able to come in to the BSc in industrial engineering.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nataki.
Thanks, Dr. Ellis. And Chelsea was just wondering about the pre-engineering course. I mean, her question is a bit subjective, but she's asking if it's easy to handle. And I'm seeing our dean, his hand is up, and I'm really happy that our dean is here. He's a gentleman with quite a busy schedule, but he really wanted to be a part of our session. So, Professor Ramlal, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, I'm not sure what you wanted to respond to, but I also want you to answer Chelsea's question about the pre-engineering courses.
Yes, the pre-engineering program is actually 3 semesters, the 2 regular semesters and what we call the summer semester. So it's a 3-semester program. It is, you have 3 math courses to do, you have physics courses, chemistry courses as well. What is interesting is it's 100% gate covered. So you do pre-engineering, you get a good GPA, then you could go do a bachelor's degree. You need AdMath to do it. If you don't have AdMath, you could sign up. And I know if as Dean of Engineering, I shouldn't say this, but you could go to FST and do the pre-science program and get the math, physics, and chemistry there, or maths and physics, depending on what program you'd like to do, and then come back to the Faculty of Engineering and then register for one of our engineering programs. So I will stop there.
Actually, you won't stop there, Dean, because I have another question for you.
Yes, please.
Someone was also asking about other internships that we may have, and I know you have a wide overview of the other internships that can be provided once you sign up for our industrial engineering program. Can you just chat a little bit more about that in terms of the faculty as a whole?
Well, the Faculty of Engineering, through our outreach, we have a deputy dean responsible for outreach and entrepreneurship, as well as responsible for dealing with internships across the Faculty of Engineering. And so we would look for various industry partnerships. For example, we have internships with Proman, or we have internships with First Citizens. In fact, some of our students have found themselves working in First Citizens as interns. And we recently got a request for someone to work in Heineken in St. Lucia as an intern, and female interns. They specifically asked for female interns. So that what we do as a Faculty of Engineering, we have a committee made up of members from all 5 departments, as well as persons from the Office of Dean, and we work with our departments and industry to try, very, very hard to make sure that we get as many internships opportunities as possible. And one of the things that I've embarked on is to try to do more aggressive kind of networking to make sure that we have many more internships, because one of the things our accreditors are saying is that we need to ensure that our students get more industrial experience and exposure. So this is something that we feel very strongly about, and we're pushing. And Dr. Ellis would tell you about whether the industrial engineering program is accredited or not, and so on. But most of our programs in the Faculty of Engineering are accredited programs, and that means it meets international quality standards.
Yeah, thanks very much, Professor Ramlal. Dr. Ellis, having this panel of past students from such wide and varied areas and wide and varied countries, I could say, it speaks to the fact that you all keep our past students close. And I know reference was made by Dr. Hassan Ali about the mentorship and the fact that you all have a society that, interacts with the students and provide hands-on expertise. Can you just chat more about how this helps our students and what we have in place?
Thank you. Actually, Dr. Pemberton is in a better position to talk about this, but industrial engineering at the faculty, it is not one of the more recognized programs. So over the years, a couple of us, including Dr. Pemberton, myself, we decided to start what is called the Society of Caribbean Industrial Engineers. It allowed us to form this body, not an NGO, which allows the students to stay in contact with us, allows us to network. We have meetings, there are charities which are done. And within it, if any student is starting a new job or need assistance, need mentorship, we attach them to different industrial engineers in industry. And sometimes when job opportunities come up, that's where we advertise them. So the students who are part of it continue to benefit from that association with the university through the Society of Caribbean Industrial Engineers. I don't know if
that
answered
the
you.
question.
And
Yes,
if you wish, Dr. Pemberton is here. You can get her to add some more if you wish.
Sure. Dr. Pemberton, are you? Yes, she's right with us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. And yes, one thing that has happened a lot over the years is that even from something like doing a student projects in companies, a lot of times those companies just hire the students right after. Sometimes they have not even graduated as yet, and the companies offer them a position. So that has happened to many of my students. Most of the lecturers like to have their students do projects in companies, and most of my projects are like that. And often the students do end up having a choice of companies to work with after they graduate.
That's really something that I think most prospects and some of our parents who may be also logged in or registered to attend will be very happy to hear. And that's one of the things that's really special about the Faculty of Engineering. I'm always hearing this, how very close they keep their students and their past students and how everyone helps one another and the mentorship. It really is amazing. And you see it coming out with various projects and so on. So that's something that is really, really special. Again, guys, feel free to ask us your questions in the chat. You've been asking for the last hour, and we do appreciate it. As you can see, we've been happy to answer your questions. And this Ask UE session is one that we have formulated just for you to ask your questions. And also have no fear, a recording of this session will be up on our YouTube channel, I would say by Friday. Our YouTube channel will have this recording. So if you need to look at it again to get some more information, you need to share it with a friend or friends, please do. Because as I have reminded you before, our deadline date is July the 30th. That is the deadline date if you want to join us in September 2025. Before we go, we have a few short minutes before we go. And I would like to ask Professor Ramlal to just come on and let us know if he wants to give any final closing words for this session here about industrial engineering, because it really has been quite engaging. I know that some persons aren't too sure what industrial engineering is about, as Dr. Ellis mentioned, but if there's anything else that you want to mention, now is the time to do so. Professor Ramlal?
Sorry, nothing really to add except to thank everyone for joining us. I think Dr. Ellis, perhaps as one of the lead with respect to industrial engineering, I really want to give him the final word. So
Actually, I was going to him next, Prof. I was going to him next.
So yes, I'm handing over to him to do final word then. And
Thank you.
just say thank you all for your support. And it was really great to see persons joining us ask the questions and to get further details on our industrial engineering program.
Yeah.
With that,
Thanks,
thanks again.
Prof. Dr. Ellis, I know you have some closing words. I'm really happy that we were able to have such a comprehensive session. And I really want to say congratulations on the work that you've been doing. I won't say how many years. I think one of your panelists nearly gave you away there in terms of your age, but we won't go there. But thank you for all the work that obviously this is an area that you love. It's something that you're very passionate about, and we want to thank you. And are there any closing words for these persons we have here who are thinking of signing up with us?
Taki, well, thank you again for having this session with us, and thank the Dean for being here in support of us. To the persons who are here listening and viewing, if you are truly interested in having a career that will not end because you work your way out of and into jobs as you see fit as an industrial engineer. Because as you make one organization as effective as it can be by increasing its productivity, then you look to another organization where you can go help them. So, and that's one of the reasons why industrial engineers seem to be transient or seem to do many things. So, and within the Caribbean, we do have a lot of things to be done. And industrial engineers can, especially dealing with our economies from the banking sector, entrepreneurship, even agriculture, technology, industrial engineering is the place to be. So that's it from me.
Before you go, of course, Dr. Ellis, I have one more question for you before we go. One of our viewers wanted to know about the course, and if it's part-time, if it's full-time, how can you access the course? Is it only full-time?
Currently, at the University of the West Indies, the program is a full-time program. I have seen over the years, there are students who have done it while working. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, I think we
But
should leave that there. Thank you very much, Dr. Ellis. And Shane also had another question. He wanted the link for the pre-engineering program. Maybe we could just send Shane quickly some information on the pre-engineering program while I wrap up. And again, I really hope that the session was quite valuable. It was quite engaging, and we enjoyed being here. As I mentioned, our esteemed panel of past students, obviously very busy, but they made the time to come and share with you about their experiences. I know that Dr. Maynard was mentioning a while ago, it was 5:30 in the morning in Australia. So he woke up early just to be able to share with us. And we also appreciate, he's nodding his head, we appreciate his time. We appreciate all of y'all, all your time. And this is the way that we're gonna get persons really excited and passionate about something that we know to be a good thing here at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine. So just a gentle reminder, check us out on our YouTube channel in about 48 hours or less, and we'll have this up for you to listen to again and again, and sign up with us before July 30th. When is the deadline date? It's the deadline date on July 30th for our programs, postgraduate and undergraduate programs, and we would love to have you here with us at the St. Augustine campus from September 2025. So again, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us on our session this afternoon on Ask UWI about industrial engineering. Thank you.